Welcome to episode 272 of the Ben Briggs Podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It is Tuesday, people. Tuesday, the 7th of March, 2023. I hope you're doing well. This is coming to you, people, at a fucking late time. We keep bashing these out in the early hours, people, but it is 1:45 here at Briggs Towers. I know, because I've been up. I've literally been awake about half an hour, I think. I had a little snooze, as I tend to do every now and again. I got back, I was tired, I had a little snooze. My mistake, usually I have a little sleep on the sofa. I love a fucking sleep on the sofa. Hot water bottle on my feet, couple of blankets over me, put your head on a pillow, cushion, if you will, and sleep away. But I fucking promoted myself to a fucking daytime bed sleep. I know. Nothing better, people. But it's fucking dangerous, as you can probably tell, because hence the reason it's so late. I woke up. I put the fucking electric blanket on like I'm a piece of chicken wrapped up in fucking tinfoil in the fucking oven, baby. So I did that. There's nothing, I tell you what, there's not many things in life at my age, at the age of 46, that get me excited. I've been there, seen it, got the fucking T-shirt, lost the T-shirt, had to give the T-shirt away to somebody I've been dating, yeah? I've done all that. There's very few things that I get excited about these days, but switching an electric blanket on half an hour before I get into bed, knowing that it's going to be nice and toasty in there, yeah, it's lonely, but it's warm, yeah? That's what I'm trying to tell you people out there. There is nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that. That is up there with being away, doing a long fucking gig, miles away, about 200 miles away, driving that 200 miles, getting in and putting the fucking kettle on and making a cup of tea. It's up there with that, people. Nowadays, fuck this going out partying, fuck this going out drinking, fuck this snorting. Who the fuck still snorts cocaine? That's what I want to know. In their 40s, who does that? Do you know the pure joy of getting changed into fucking nice crisp pajamas, getting into nice crisp sheets, as soon as your ass hits the mattress, you can feel the warmth of the electric blanket. What more, people, do you need? That's what life's all about. It's not about having children, passing on your DNA, seeing them grow up. It's having a warm ass in bed because of an electric blanket. That's it. I've discovered the secret of life. That's it. That's it, people. And I will not be persuaded otherwise. So I was asleep. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So this is probably why I'm a little bit lively right now, because I have too much energy. I've slept too much, if anything. Usually, I'll go to sleep and wake up far fucking more knackered than I actually went to sleep. It's just horrendous, isn't it? Apparently there's something about, did I mention this on the podcast recently? Because I was discussing it with somebody the other day. There's something to do with if you hit the alarm button, your body clock goes into, if you hit the snooze button after the alarm goes off. So you snooze it for like 9. For some reason, my Apple phone thinks when I hit the snooze button, the alarm will go off 9 minutes later. I don't know what that's about. Why not just make it 10 minutes? Surely you're probably all screaming at me out there going, Ben, you can change it to snooze for 10 minutes. Okay, I don't fucking know that, do I? I'm consumed. The only technology I know how to use is fucking this podcast shit. And I'm struggling with that. And we've finally got the sound sounding okay, but I imagine it still sounds hollow out there, doesn't it? Like I'm trapped down a fucking well or something. because everything's dinging off everything in this room. Anyway, I don't know why it snoozes 9 minutes, but apparently what it is the reason you feel more knackered after a snooze than when you first woke up to press the snooze button is because your body will go into sleep mode and needs to go through a sleep cycle. It's amazing what you can pick up on the internet, isn't it? The sort of, it's not just porn out there, people. There's stuff you can really pick up on the internet. Apparently, it'll go into a sleep cycle. And then, obviously, when the alarm goes off in 9 minutes, it breaks that sleep cycle, which should be like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that, right? I don't know. So you go through multiple sleep cycles if you're sleeping 8 hours? Is this why I keep getting up after about an hour and a half and needing a piss? Or is that something different? I don't know. Maybe I need to get my prostate checked out. In any of those jokes, prostate checked out jokes, by the way, if you ever hear anybody say that now, I went to get my prostate checked out, he shoved his finger up my ass, that lame old fucking trope. That is not true anymore. They take your blood, apparently. That's something else I've picked up. I don't know. I don't know whether that's true or whether people just don't want to have sexual assault cases against them. I don't know. Talking of sexual assault, what a segue. I'm going to need tea for this. What a segue into this next bit. There's a documentary. I know. Hey, Ben, have you been watching documentaries, have you? Trying to learn shit? You're fucking right I have, people. You're fucking right I have. There's a documentary on our glorious BBC at the moment. So our foreign listeners, any Ben Briggs Podcast listeners out there, not in the British Isles, I don't know whether you'll be able to watch this or not. However, I'm sure you can just register online, can you? BBC iPlayer and get it for free? I don't know. I don't know how it works. I know we get a few listeners in the States, Nigeria, holy fucking shit, and other various places. So I don't know if you'll be able to watch this, but there is a documentary. It's about a 4-part documentary, I think. Each part's about an hour. And it's called We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby. No shit. No shit. There's a fucking understatement. Isn't there? Holy fucking shit. And you know what? They do fucking talk about him quite considerably. I wasn't aware of this. Obviously, growing up in the UK, I wasn't really aware of how big a star that Bill Cosby was. The only thing we got over here, we used to get American shows over here in like the 80s and the 90s. So we'd get stuff like massive shows that were massive in America. We'd get them over here on syndication. I think that's what they call it, isn't it? When they fucking flog it to another fucking country. And they'd always be on BBC 2 or Channel 4. They'd never be on the main channels. At that point, by the way, just to give our American listeners a context, we had 4 channels in this country. We had BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV, which was the BBC 1, BBC 2 never used to show commercials. They're funded by the great British public and our TV licenses over here. So ITV and Channel 4 would always have adverts on. So, but the American shows that we got over here were things like Mork and Mindy, Happy Days. What else? We got Friends, obviously, but that was a little bit later in the 90s. I remember watching A Little House on the Prairie. They used to play that on Sunday mornings. But it was all, obviously you get the A-Team and fucking things like that. But there used to be a time like about 6 o'clock, 6:30 on a weeknight where they'd have Happy Days on, Mork and Mindy. What else did they have? Those sort of shows, you know, those easy watching sort of American shows. And at one point they'd have the Cosby Show on, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air they'd have on. I think that was always on BBC 2 at about 6 o'clock. if I remember rightly. I don't know. Correct me if I am wrong, people out there of the UK. So I was aware of Bill Cosby in the Cosby Show, but it was that was all I sort of like knew him from. And he wasn't like a massive star here in the UK like he was in America. We never used to get the cartoons, I don't think. He used to do a cartoon, Fat Albert or something like that. That's what it said on the documentary anyway. So the documentary sort of like takes his career from where he started out to where he obviously like to modern times. So it takes you through the 60s, sort of like 70s, gives you a sort of like backdrop to how much he sort of like paved the way for other black comedians coming through, and kind of a little bit sort of jumped on the shoulders of an act who I'd never heard of, you know, in the UK. I don't think anyone's aware of Dick Gregory. There's probably people going, yeah, we know about him, Ben. But I wasn't aware of him. But apparently he was sort of like the first black comedian to move out of just doing sort of like black clubs, I think. And then going into sort of like white clubs. But he was very sort of like talked about race and what it was to be a black guy in the fucking 1960s in America, which clearly, you know, as history is foretold, wasn't a particularly great experience. But then sort of like Cosby sort of like came along, cleaned things up a bit with regards to material. Wasn't using terms like the N-word. I'm not going to use that either. I can't fucking blame him. He came in and he acted like basically his act was like a lefty white comedian of 2023. Didn't even mention race. So that's tickled me. So it sort of like takes the from where he started out, and then when he started going on TV, and then how he sort of like how that coincides with racial changes that are going on in America at the time. And then there's always a weird thing with these people who obviously he's done some horrendous crimes that seem to have started like early on in his career. He discovered things that could knock people out, and then just decided to fucking every time. You know, you didn't. If you were a woman and you're a Bill Cosby fan, you did not want to go back to his dressing room and have a drink with him. Let's put it that way. But it always seems to be a weird thing. Like we had like Jimmy Savile over here. He's a sort of like British sort of like equivalent, maybe. He doesn't seem like he was as beloved as Bill Cosby in America. Bill Cosby was sort of like seen as the family father of America, which, you know, fucking Jimmy Savile never was really, was he? He was like some sort of freaky fucking weird bachelor type who pretty much did the same sort of things, although didn't knock people out for it. Let's have some tea, hang on. But there always seems to be a weird thing where people like that who do horrendous things like that always seem to either raise money for charity or do a lot for charity. So my observation is beware of people who do too much charity. It's like they're trying to even the scales. It's a very weird thing. They're just trying to even the scales between something horrendous that they've done and then something, you know, nice that they've done, like Bill Cosby raising money for fucking schools, although, it was predominantly female schools, I think, you know. Hey, Bill, why are you putting all this money into this school for females? I don't want to fuck anyone who's uneducated. Jesus. It was just horrendous what he did. But it just seems that people like that seem to have to sort of like try and balance the scales a little bit with what they do, which you shouldn't really be suspicious. You shouldn't have to be suspicious of people who give a lot of money away to charity, should you? You should. That should be like they should be giving money away for charity, and you go, "Oh, what a good person that is." Not in the back of your mind going, "What fucking horrendous crime are they trying to pay off?" Oh, Jesus! But it's fascinating, sort of like watching it. It's fascinating. Listening to the accounts of the women who are involved and what sort of effect it's had on their lives as well, and how sort of like manipulative, because obviously we, not being aware of it over here, I didn't realize how fucking powerful he was within the context of entertainment and sort of like his political sort of like reach as well. And how much he tried to sort of like bestow his own virtuous ideals, virtuous in fucking inverted commas there, ideals onto American society when he was doing all this fucking horrendous shit as well. It's just like, it's just mind-blowing and baffling how much of a dual character he really was, and how he got away with it for so long, and also by essentially it was victim blaming, I think, and that sort of thing. It was trying to make people feel bad, like they'd got pissed round his house or something, and it was him who was fucking drugging them. It's fucking horrendous. It's fascinating. I don't really watch. I watched it because it was Bill Cosby. I fucking hate... and then the worst thing about that is you start watching that and then it comes to an end, and then BBC iPlayer says, here's your next recommended documentary, and it's some horrendous guy who's fucking, been brutally murdering kids or something. And you're like, whoa, just hang on a minute. I was watching that because I was interested in... you want to type in to them, excuse me, can I have a word with the algorithms a minute, please? Just because I watch this one thing, it doesn't mean I want to watch this stream of horrendous shit afterwards as well, if that's okay. Is that all right? I just had a vague interest in this because obviously I'm aware of what Bill Cosby, the case going on in America, and I just wanted a little bit more information on that and to see how that progressed, and to see the impact that has had on people's lives, and just interested in gaining more information about that. I don't now want to become a fucking expert in paedophiles and sex offenders. Thank you very much. So can you take that off the fucking algorithm? If that's okay. And I'll go back to just watching, episodes of The Detectorist, if that's okay. It's going to be hard for you to keep this on an even keel, BBC iPlayer algorithms. 1 minute I'm watching fucking things like that, comedy stuff, Live at the Apollo. The next minute I'm watching something about a prolific fucking, comedian who's seems to be prolific at everything. He did, even the horrendous shit. I need some sort of balance. Just send me back to what I was watching before. That's okay. Are you sure you want to... There ought to be a little box that comes up. Are you sure you want to keep watching horrendous shit like this? No, I do not. Thank you for asking me that question. I will tap that button immediately and you can send me back to the PG shit I was watching before. Thank you. I don't know, man. And then that's forever in the system, isn't it? Let's have a little bit of tea. There we go. Big old gulp of tea. There we go. So I watched that. It was just, it just seems like people who do horrendous stuff, like in the line, what other things are going to be shown up in like 20, 30 years? Or maybe people are a little bit more clued up on it now. Maybe with the advent of social media, people are a little bit less likely to get away with that sort of shit these days, which is a good thing, I think. Anyway, it's a bit fucking chilly tonight. Apparently, there's in Briggs Towers here. I haven't switched any of the heating on or anything like that because I am not a lottery winner. No, because I've been asleep. And my fucking little toes are fucking getting a bit cold. Apparently, there's meant to be snow coming. Snow is coming, people. Snow is meant to be coming. It's always a blizzard. It's always the worst case scenario that weather people seem to throw out there about the weather, isn't it? It's always the worst case scenario. It's always going to be it's never like there's going to be a little bit of snow, but it's not going to be. No, this is the worst snowstorm for 18,000 years. This is a sort of snowstorm that happened just before the dinosaurs died out. This is the one that weakened them, suppled them up. There's always something. I imagine, I imagine saying there's going to be a little bit of snow. Nobody's going to click on that link, are they? And see them fucking adverts. So they have to blow everything out of proportion. I don't know. But you can feel it tonight. That's the point I'm trying to make, people. You can feel it tonight. There's a certain thing when snow's coming and you know it's coming. There's a certain sort of stillness, but biting cold in the air that you can actually... You can actually think that, yes, I believe it will snow today. Isn't that a weird thing? Surely we were more in touch with this sort of thing when we were, living in forests and shit like that and scavenging, hunting mammoth. But, there's definitely a cold feeling. And you get that sort of, that sky that's sort of, obviously it's dark outside now, but you get that sort of sky that's like just a white, it's not really cloud. It's just white blanket, just ready to fucking drop when it hits the right temperature, innit? So hopefully that'll be fun tomorrow if that happens overnight, won't it? People start driving like fucking idiots everywhere. You either get the people in the snow, who drive like fucking idiots and don't make any adjustment to their driving in snow. They just, 80 mile an hour, fast lane of the motorway, the fast lane's covered over with snow and they're just fucking zipping past you and you're like, well, good luck with that, mate. Or you get the people who are overcautious and go everywhere at 20 mile an hour and still somehow don't know how to pump their brakes when they hit any ice and end up skidding into shit at 20 mile an hour and just sort of like careening past you. I saw that once. I saw a woman. Yes, it was a woman. Yeah, I'm not just, saying it. She looked like a woman. I don't know if she identified as a woman, right? I imagine she did because this was probably about 10 years ago before all this shit kicked off. All right. I'm joking. It was about 10 years ago. And some woman, she must have been doing about 20 mile an hour. She was on the other side of the road. And she hit her brakes and then just came careening sort of like towards me. I speeded up. She went past, but as she went past, she was like, she had no idea what she was going to do. She was panicking like fuck, looking at me as if I was going to help. What am I going to do, sweetheart? Am I going to break your car careening into those other cars? Of course I'm not. No, that's going to be a nightmare for me of paperwork. I could have taken the hit on the side of my car, but I didn't. I speeded up, so she had to bang into about 4 others. Enjoy doing that paperwork. Next time, learn how to drive in fucking snow. Cautiously and pump the brakes, sweetheart. If I'd have shouted out to pump the brakes, she wouldn't know what I was fucking meant by it anyway. Anyway, there's a little anecdote for you. I'm gigging this week. Tomorrow I'm in Coventry, and then the weekend I'm in Hull at the Comedy Lounge in Hull, which I enjoy doing. Not the easiest of gigs, but I enjoy doing. It's just a nice place. The people who run it are nice. The audience are usually all right. The last time I did it, it was nice. The time before I did it, one of the nights, I think it was the Saturday night, was a bit of a fucking struggle. But you know, you get these things sometimes, people, don't you? That's it. There we go. It's still booking in there. Let's have some more tea. Still booking in down there. On my own, by the way, no agent. I will tell you a story. I'll tell you a story. I was just before this must have been about like last year. I think it was November time, December time, something like that. It was before Christmas anyway. I was approached by an agent. Holy fucking shit, Ben. Do you want some representation? Do you want to pay me some fucking money for every gig you get? One of these people. Now, I'm not averse to agents or whatever. I've never had an agent, by the way, just to clarify. I've always done things myself, trying to build up a relationship with promoters, just to the point where they're booking me, and then I like to burn those relationships. I'm joking. Well, I'm not necessarily joking 100% there. There's been a couple of promoters I've burnt bridges with, but, you know, hey, it's life, isn't it? You can't get on with everybody, can you? You know, you're not always going to be what people want all of the time, are you? And they're not going to be what you want either all of the time. But there you go. So I was approached by an agent just before Christmas. I'm trying to think. The reason I'm stuttering a bit is because I'm trying to think how I can word this properly. Another act recommended me for it. He's a good act. I like him, and he was he's with this particular agent as well. The rest of the acts that were represented were that they represented were not really. In my opinion, but no, it doesn't matter. But it's just my opinion. Not particularly the same high standard as this other act who'd approached me about their agent looking for more acts. So that was one thing that I thought, like, maybe this isn't gonna, you know, like, I don't know, I'm undecided and things. And I said, but fuck it, I'll speak to him on the phone or whatever. And I spoke to him on the phone. There was a few red flags immediately. The reason I'm talking about this, by the way, is because I haven't heard anything from these after this person, this agent, after I said some stuff. So there was a few little red flags. One red flag is that I said, so they wanted like 15%. I think it was 15% of everything, which is fine as long as they're getting your gigs. But they wanted 15% of gigs that I was already getting myself. So for gigs like this weekend at the Comedy Lounge in Hull, where I get those gigs, or any other paid gigs that I'd got and built up, or where people approached me and said, hi, Ben, we need an opener or we need a closer for this night. I had to give them 15% of that. So all the contacts I've built up over 15 years. The big red flag was the fact that they hadn't even seen any of my videos. Hey, you're going to be big time. We want to represent you. Okay, what do you like about my act? I've never seen your fucking act. I've heard good things about your fucking act. You're going to be big time, big time. Okay, so you've not seen anything I do. Your other acts aren't really like what I do, particularly comedy-wise. You know what I mean? They're not like quite... brash or direct as me. They're a bit more whimsical, but like, you're happy to so you've not seen anything that I do. You've never seen me on stage. You've seen no videos, but you're happy to take 15% of gigs that I'm getting at the moment for myself. You, lady, are a fucking genius. You are fucking amazing. So the funny thing about it is, I'm not really bad mouthing them. I'm just like telling you a story. The funny thing about it was that I said, well, just watch some videos and then get back to me. And they said, okay, well, we'll watch some videos that you've got online and that of your stand up, and then we'll get back to you. And then they never did. Oh dear. I could hear in a voice though when I said I'm not going to be giving you any money for gigs that I get myself. If you get me gigs, that's an incentive for you to get me more gigs, surely, isn't it? If you're getting 15% off of that, any gigs you get me, that's an incentive for you to get me as many gigs as possible. And I just heard the tone in her voice just go down, and she wasn't fucking interested from that moment on. And it just made me laugh. Like, I was like, oh, okay, so you just want me to finance your agency. It's not going to be loads, is it? You know, like 15%, you know, of 200 quid or whatever for a weekend gig is 30 quid, isn't it? Which is not loads, but it's 30 quid that could be in my pocket. Instead of getting 200, I'm getting 170. Then I've got to get petrol out of that. So, you know, instead of clearing sort of, if it's a long distance gig, instead of clearing 150 quid for the night with taking out petrol, you're clearing 120. It all adds up, people. You know what I mean? And if you think you do that over a month or whatever, and you're giving 15% to what you're, you know, over a month and over a year, that kind of fucking adds up. So I just thought it was fucking funny when when I said just have a look at some of the videos I do online, because I do slightly dark stuff. I was trying to say I do dark stuff. It's kind of fucking a little bit direct, you know, like I try and keep it playful, but like, you know, I'm trying to make a point and things. Yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds good. And then, yeah, I'll have a look at those videos. Nothing. I love it. I love it. What a way to take a fucking slap down. Anyway, people, what better way to end this episode than that? Holy shit, we've covered it all, haven't we? We've covered comedians who are not to be trusted to have a drink with. We've covered the driving in the snow, and then an anecdote about about as close as I got to being an agent. I have no idea whether you're meant to give up that 15% or whatever, but it doesn't seem that much, to be honest. It doesn't. But I couldn't see when somebody's suggesting, hey, you can... well, we've got certain acts who are in with this club and certain acts who are in with that club as well. Well, they're never going to book me anyway because of shit I did years ago. Unless you're setting up brand new clubs with brand new promoters, most of the clubs who don't book me aren't going to book me because of shit I did or swearing too much on stage, as some promoters don't like. One particularly... You're swearing. You swore a certain amount. All right, fucking Rain Man. Jesus. Keeping track of how many times I say fuck. Anyway, that is... let's end it there. That is episode 272 of the Ben Briggs Podcast. I hope you have a good rest of your working week, people. There's only 3 days left. Holy fucking shit. Halfway through tomorrow and you're halfway through the week. What better feeling is there than that? Well, I'll tell you. Friday afternoon, that's the best feeling in the world, people, isn't it? Oh! Have a good rest of your working week, motherfuckers. I shall speak to you on Saturday. You take care.